Okay, so check-in training for Gutsy Walk 2025. Welcome. The purpose of the check-in training is to equip check-in volunteers with the resources and knowledge to set up and run the check-in area on event day and provide attendees with a positive, welcoming experience. Review the documents you and your volunteers will be using. This training will help you feel confident and prepared for walk day. You'll learn how to check in participants, handle donations, and give out rewards, and to answer any questions you have regarding the process, and to create a warm, inclusive experience for everyone attending the walk. So some key terms that you'll hear throughout Gutsy Walk: participant, someone who is registered for Gutsy Walk and fundraises for the event. Participants are eligible for fundraising rewards and contests. They can be registered as individual, team captain, or team member. Donor, someone who supports Gutsy Walk and donates to either a participant walk location or makes a general donation towards the event. They may attend the event with participants but are not eligible for rewards. A star fundraiser is a participant who raises a minimum of $1,000. These individuals are recognized for their fundraising achievements and receive a special reward based on how much they have raised. Check-in lead, volunteer who oversees the setup and takedown of the check-in area, assists volunteers and participants with any questions or concerns about pricing and the process, oversees final count of monies and deposit of event day donations. The check-in team partners are volunteers who welcome and greet participants, verify their information, distribute fundraising rewards to eligible individuals, and receive count cash, the check-in donations with support of the check-in lead. And the floaters or runners are volunteers who help deliver requested rewards or materials between volunteer pairs, ensuring smooth flow and preventing a backup at the tables. So for star fundraisers, we have 3 levels. The rising star is $1,000 to $2,499. The shooting star, $2,500 to $9,999. And superstar is $10,000. So a star fundraiser receives unique star rewards to be picked up at the walk. These are not cumulative. Each star fundraiser is entitled to 1 reward at their level. If they wish to opt for the reward at a lower level, that's okay, but they cannot move up a level. So for example, a shooting star can receive a rising or shooting star reward, but they are not eligible for the superstar reward. Okay, that is a tongue twister. For the rewards, t-shirts, if a participant has raised $150 or more, they're eligible for a t-shirt. If their t-shirt was already mailed, the t-shirt sent column will have a date. If there is no date in this spot, they can pick up their t-shirt at the walk. If they are picking the t-shirt up on walk day, please put a check mark in the received shirt on event day box. If they need a different size from what was recorded, please cross off the wrong size and write in the correct one. If they qualify for a team captain or star reward, it will be indicated on this list. Look for it says yes. Please remember only 1 star reward if the person is eligible. If a participant has raised money since the online participant report has been pulled and is eligible for fundraising reward, please have the participant show you their online fundraising page total and correct that total on the participant list. Questions, comments? Everybody's good so far? Preparing for walk day. Check-in leads will receive a check-in package with supplies and documents. They will have opened and reviewed the package before walk day to make sure nothing's missing. Checklist and tracking numbers are provided by the staff partner. Please let your staff partner know right away if anything is missing. Check-in supplies. Table supplies should be in storage or supplied by the Gutsy Walk team. Required supplies, instructions, extra pledge forms, participant list, rewards not received form, follow-up form, check-in QR codes. All of those are included in the check-in package. Pens, highlighters, calculators, paper, post-it notes, banker's boxes, hand sanitizer, paper clips or binder clips, and then suggested supplies, gloves for handling money, coin rollers, elastics, whiteout, staplers, staple scissors. Check-in documents. So this is the participant list. You'll receive a copy of the participant list for your walk site. This list includes all the participants who have registered online. This list is to check in participants and give out eligible rewards or t-shirts. We highly suggest that you are highlighting these as people arrive straight across. Pledge forms, the participant information on the front, donor information on the back. The follow-up form, asking about the use for this form is if you're asking about Crohn's and colitis programs, donations coming in after the event, interested in hosting event, want more information. Please do not put missing incentives on this form. Rewards not received form is the Gutsy Walk team will provide a limited number of t-shirts and rewards. If you have run out of a specific reward or t-shirt, please fill in this table below. So name, what they raised, t-shirt, star, reward, complete address, and let them know that we will mail their item after the walk. It's a suggested check-in table layout. So we have a tally area, we have the boxes, separate lines, someone in behind, rewards, just an idea of what your area could look like. For the check-in area, some walk sites have separate check-in lines designated for check-in only, rewards pickup, stars check-in, donation drop-off. For stations not receiving cash or check donations, such as rewards pickup, stars check-in, it is not necessary to work in pairs. However, having more than one volunteer at these stations is helpful to maintain a steady flow and minimize wait times. Volunteers can assist with issuing rewards and processing check-ins more efficiently when the tasks are shared. Questions, comments? Everyone's still good?
Yeah,
Okay.
just one question. How far in advance or how close to the event will we get the lists, and like how updated will they be? Because I know a lot of people fundraise and raise money like right up until like the day of or the night before the event.
Yeah, that's a great question, David. We generally send them out to the staff support by 1 o'clock Eastern time. We pull them to have them. It takes a little bit of a time for us to prepare them and send them to them by 3. So there is a bit of a gap between when we get them and then your staff support send them to you. So there can be that lag time in between.
That'll be on Friday afternoon, right?
Yes, on the Friday afternoon before the walk. And I think it
In the
varies
past,
walk to walk, right,
yeah,
Dara? Like,
in the past, we have provided instructions to the development coordinators to be able to repull the lists if they need to, because we recognize that yeah, a lot can change from Friday at like 1 p.m. till Sunday at whatever time you're opening your registration. So if that's I guess of interest, please flag with your staff partner and then they can talk to us. The main reason we pull them on Friday is just to ensure that we have them done in time. We don't want to say we'll pull them all Saturday evening and then run out of time or anything like that. So that's kind of like why we pull them when we pull them. But you can definitely talk to your staff partner if you have any concerns. But also if the number is not accurately reflected on that list and they show you, say, their online participant profile to show that they are eligible for rewards that they maybe weren't eligible for on Friday, we obviously honor that as well.
Anne Marie?
Yeah, I had a question. You guys are saying the QR codes for check-in. How does that work?
So the QR codes for check-in,
Yeah.
they will be, there's papers that are in the registration kit. So oftentimes you'll notice, and it depends on the walk. So an example, Kitchener-Waterloo, they laminate those pages and they have greeters. So for folks who are just coming in, they haven't registered online, they're not fundraising, but they're part of a larger group. To try and capture the numbers and get the waiver signed, we'd like them to scan the QR code and check in, and it's a jot form. So it's really quick, first name, last name, email, and they can add the list of household guests with them. And that's more for us on the back end, so we can get a better idea of our event day attendance. Because right now we base it off your participant list. but that can really vary from walk to walk, especially if some, people are bringing 10 extra people. So it's really for us for the planning purposes.
Okay,
So
because
you
I
will
think
have
you should
those
kind of,
sheets.
yeah, make it clear that it is for the people who aren't on the participant list. Because they had it last year, they had an online, you could check in online before, and I did that, but we also give out food tickets, so we want everybody to come in.
So the check-in form that we had previously was actually a thing that was introduced because of the pandemic. And that was to allow for like accurate social distancing and like quantities of people. So that form is fully gone. We are not using that check-in form anymore. This check-in form is kind of to replace those people that walk up and have not fundraised anything and do not have any donations, but maybe would have signed a pledge form in the past to satisfy that waiver. So it's just kind of like making sure that they're covered under like, insurance liability. There's not any issues of kind of situations like that. So that's kind of the intention behind this. So we do stress the importance of all participants still visiting the check-in table, whether or not, or check-in tent, whether or not they have money to hand in, because like you said, giving away barbecue tickets or, receiving any kind of rewards. But yeah, just to clarify, it is different from the one last year. So this year it's only it won't be sent to people in advance, and it's only for those that are like walking up and being like, hey, I would normally fill out a pledge form, or I just need to sign the waiver kind of thing. Like you brought like 4 different people with you. That's what they would sign if they're not
Okay.
registered online.
Okay, yeah, no, that I think that needs to, if people are reading this, to be clarified. So people aren't thinking, oh, I'll just go check in here, and then you haven't gone to the lists or anything like that.
Makes sense. Thank you for your feedback. We appreciate that because we like to think through these scenarios, and sometimes we're not perfect. We can't think of everything. So good point. We will make sure that that is clarified.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think it's unique too, Anne-Marie, that you do not a lot of walks, hand out tickets. Dara, you may in Winnipeg, but I know none of the walks out of the 6 that I oversaw in Southwest, we didn't do tickets, which would have been ideal, but just trying to get people to come up to the check-in line area, it can be hit or miss. So definitely something we'll be improving as we continue. So I'm going to move into the process and scenarios. So handling donations and rewards, check pledge forms for complete information, especially full donor addresses for tax receipts. Work in pairs, one reads the amounts, one counts the money. Only accept what's physically handed in, no unpaid pledges. If a donation is listed on the form and has not been paid, please draw an X through the donation. If someone has unpaid donations, please direct them to pay via credit card by scanning the QR code or send their donation in via mail. Post-walk, do not process donations on a Moneris machine. Use the rewards not received for items that are out of stock. Clip the forms and money together, then place in your station's donation box. Please note we are not using the participant donor verification forms this year. Offline donations, cash and check-in partners, your final step. Place the clipped forms and money in your volunteer pair box on the floor beside you. This is where all the donations and pledge forms will be stored until the check-in lead empties and puts into a secure area to count. Should be in a secure area and not left out of sight. So for the check-in scenarios, we're starting with the participant is registered online and all donations are online. So you're going to find their name on the participant list and highlight the entire line to show they've arrived. Check if they get a reward. Look at the participant list to see if they are eligible for any rewards. Put a check mark in the corresponding column to show they received it. Please ensure you mark if they were given a t-shirt at the walk. If they say they should get a reward, but the list says no, ask to see their online fundraising profile. Let them know the list is printed on Friday, so it may not include any donations after that. If their profile shows they've raised enough money, give them the reward and check it off the list. If they need a different t-shirt size, cross out the size listed on the form and write the size that you gave them instead. If the inventory has run out, fill out the rewards not received. If something needs follow-up, write it down on the follow-up form. They've registered online. They have cash or check donations. They must have a pledge form. So you're going to find their name on the participant list, highlight the entire line to show they've arrived, look at the pledge form to ensure the participant section. We only need first and last name, email, and walk location if they're registered online. If they have it all filled out, great. For the donor section, check that each donor's information is clear. If they want a tax receipt, they must include full name, full address, email if they want the receipt by email. If the information is incomplete, we will not be able to issue a tax receipt. Fix any missing information. If anything is missing, ask the participant to fill it in. Do not accept the form if it's missing important information like a donor's address or donation amount. For counting the money, check-in partner 1 will say the donation amounts out loud. Check-in partner 2 will count the money. If it matches what's on the pledge form, put a check mark beside the donation. If the money does not match, ask the participant why. Only write down the amount they actually gave. Ask the participant to initial any changes. The total amount collected should be written at the bottom of the pledge form. If there's unpaid pledges, if there's a donation written down but no cash or check, please confirm with the participant and draw an X through the donation. Only include money we physically receive. Rewards, issue any rewards or t-shirt if eligible. See the participant list. Final step, the second check-in partner will paperclip the pledge forms and money and put everything in the box for the check-in lead. Any questions?
Yes, didn't they used to have at the bottom that paid pledges, you could pay by your own credit card on the sheets?
Not anymore. That last
Okay.
year we didn't accept credit card either, so it has to be paid online. So they either need to go online to their gutsywalk.ca and pay that way, or through their participant portal, or through the QR codes for donation. But we no longer
Okay, where's
accept
the,
credit
the
cards.
QR codes? Is there gonna be like a separate QR code for the donations as opposed to the
There's
people
separate
who are
QR codes for
non-participants?
donation. Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
Was that other QR code provided in the package or is it coming yet?
No, that's coming. It's coming. It just got uploaded and ready, so I'll be sending that over. So if you have multiple pledge forms from the same participant, please include the number of pages and total cash on the participant side of the pledge form. So for these check-in scenarios, they're not registered online, not on participant list, walk-up donations. So reminder, the participant lists are pulled on Friday afternoon. Participants can still register and raise money after the fact. They register online after the list was pulled, no offline money. So ask to see or check their participant center fundraising page, and you can verify money raised is eligible for rewards. On the back page of the participant list, write their first, last name, and email. If they're entitled to any rewards, please also mark what they're given and ensure they're eligible. The participant isn't on the list and has not registered online, but have offline money. Check the participant list. They're not there. On the back of the page of the participant list, write their first and last name and email. Ensure they've completed a pledge form. If not, have them fill out one. If they're entitled to any rewards, please also mark what they're given. General check-in, a participant comes up to say they're here. Check the participant list if they're on it, highlight the entire row. If not, follow not registered steps above. For a walk-up donation, sometimes people walk up and want to donate. If they do and want a tax receipt, ask if the donation is directly to a participant. If so, have them fill out the first and last name on the participant on a pledge form and their information in the donor section. If they don't want a tax receipt, give the donation to the check-in lead and tell them it's a general donation.
Question, could they also use the QR code to donate online?
Yep.
Okay,
So the follow-up form and reward not received form, please note any discrepancies on the follow-up form and record any missing rewards on the reward not received form. And Dara, I'm going to pass it over to you if no one has questions or comments.
Yeah, we can kind of pause if anybody does. I see that Kevin just asked if additional pledge forms still to be sent out with the donation. So the additional, like the blank pledge forms have been included in the packages that Shy had put together. They won't have the QR code associated with it, but there will be like a poster for the QR code. So like what Shy said, those are being printed. And then we do have, if you're getting like the Coroplast signs printed, we will also have one of those available that say donate now, and it's just a QR code, but that depends on whether those signs are normally printed based on your staff partner. If you kind of have the budget for those signs, because they can be expensive, but we will make sure that everybody has the copy of the donate now QR code. And the big thing is if anybody wants to come up and pay by card, there's no way to process that at the event unless it's online. So as Shai mentioned about the Moneris machines, if you have a Moneris machine at your site, please do not process any donations on that machine, because I'll be honest, if you do, it just creates a nightmare of a situation because we can't accurately tax receipt, and all the money kind of just gets bundled in with maybe raffle tickets you're selling or like anything else that's happening on event day. So if they want to pay for remaining donations, they need to do it online or send money afterwards. Or if they're really set on like paying via credit card or something like that, you can fill out the follow-up form, and Shy and I will follow up with them after the event has concluded, and just clarify if there's any like outstanding donations to make sure that that's done. All right. Any other questions? I'm going to go into kind of the roles, or the roles and responsibilities of the check-in lead, more so as to what you do once check-in is closed. That being said, we can come back to some things if people have questions, but anything burning right now to talk about? Okay, I'm going to take the silence as that we're okay, or maybe we're considering the questions that we might want to ask, but that's okay. Please feel free to ask us either at the end, or if, sometimes my brain, if I don't ask it pretty quick, it disappears. So you can put it in the chat or raise your hand or whatever works for you. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the check-in lead role, like I mentioned. So first of all, the key responsibilities kind of that are outlined as the check-in lead. So the big thing is to supervise the check-in area. You're overseeing all of the check-in volunteers. You're ensuring that the area is set up properly with signage, the supplies like the participant list, name tags, pens, whatever you might have, and that it's welcoming and people want to walk up and come to see you, because we want them, like I said, to visit the check-in tent to make sure that we know they're here. You're also going to make sure that cash and checks from donors are kept secure at all times. So there should never be a situation where everybody leaves the check-in tent. There should always be at least one person, but ideally two, just because of security purposes. We don't want anyone to feel like they're being left or anything like that in that situation. You're also there to support the volunteers. So you're going to brief the check-in volunteers on their roles. It's recommended that you do a little mini like orientation the day of. Ensure that you get your volunteers to arrive however long you need to go over the process prior to when your check-in tent will open to the public. And we will also be providing the recording of this video, and we're going to provide timestamps so that if you have check-in volunteers that are planning to attend on the day of and they're doing check-in, you can send them the YouTube link with a specific like timestamp saying watch from 5 minutes to 13 minutes, and that kind of gives them an overview of what their role is to be expected on the day of. You're also there to help resolve any issues in terms of like missing registrations, names not on the list. If people have questions, we know that the check-in process is quite an intricate process, and we have tried to make it easier. And believe me, we are still trying, but it's a whole process to get it done. So we understand that not everything might be clear. So hopefully as a check-in lead, you will feel comfortable enough to be able to answer any questions if people have them. Like the next point I said, answer questions or escalate issues. So you're being the point person for any check-in concerns, and you will liaise with the walk lead or staff partner if questions or issues arise. If there's anything like that, make sure you flag it with them. And they're also there to support you. So if you have any questions or concerns, or let's say somebody's being really unreasonable, it's okay for you to take a step back and say, you know what, let me get my staff partner involved, or let me get my walk chair involved in this situation as well. You are also responsible for ensuring that the wrap-up duties are completed effectively. So you want to ensure that all the forms are gathered, including the money, like we mentioned before. You're going to pack up all the check-in supplies and report any notable feedback or concerns to either the Gutsy Walk chair, staff partner, or whoever it might be. So preparation pre-walk, you want to make sure that you kind of do these steps in advance so that you are ready to go come June 1st. So make sure that your volunteers have attended and or watched the training. Like I said, it's a great idea to send it to them in advance, and also let them know what time to arrive on event day so that they can be comfortable in the check-in scenarios. Once you receive your check-in package, which I think a lot of folks have already received those if you're the check-in lead, go through the contents to ensure that all the documents as per the checklist in the bag is provided. If you don't receive a package or are missing items, reach out to your staff support immediately, or you can also reach out to Shy or I. But I will also mention that on the Volunteer Hub, we have copies of all of the forms. So if you get that package and you're like, you know what, I could use a couple more of like this specific form, you can definitely print those out if you want to at home for sure. Or ask your staff partner or walk chair to print them out as well. One important thing that we need to make sure that for anybody who has been around before is familiar with this, you need to pick up a deposit key from RBC before walk day using the RBC authorization letter that was provided to you in that package. Generally, it's good to go the week before or early the week of. So if you can't get there this week, it would be recommended that you go early, like Monday, Tuesday next week. And it doesn't hurt to bring a copy of the deposit slip for reference. Some banks need to see it. I know my local branch close to me in Winnipeg, every year they insist that they need to see a deposit slip. To be clear, they are not keeping the deposit slip. You need it to be able to make the deposit. And everybody only has so many deposit slips that have been allocated to their walk. So just ensure that like they can see the deposit slip, they can record whatever information that they need, but that you get that deposit slip back. If they want to keep the copy of the letter, that's totally fine. But we will, yeah, you have the copy of the letter. Some want to keep it on file while it's there. If you have any issues with getting the deposit key from RBC, please reach out to your staff partner or Shy and I as soon as possible. Once you have that key, you will be responsible for returning it back to the bank the next business day. So either on the Monday or like a couple of days post Gutsy Walk, and they do expect you to return it. So please make sure that you return it to them as well. And prior to your last committee meeting or before Gutsy Walk is making sure to ask your staff support or connect with any check-in volunteers to see how they're doing and if they need to review anything or if there are any questions. Okay, so just I will pause for questions, but just kind of to power through a couple of these things so that we're kind of getting through the process. And I noticed somebody just asked a question in the chat, so we will get to the special forms. So in that check-in package, kind of what to expect in there. So your local staff partners have been provided with tracking numbers for those check-in packages. So if you are a check-in lead and you have not received your package yet, feel free to reach out to your local staff support and they can let you know. You will be receiving 3 different shipments from like related to check-in for Gutsy Walk. So the first is the package that Shy had put together from the Gutsy Walk team. This includes things like the RBC and Purelator items, event day documents, check-in documents, helpful guides, and that checklist to make sure that you have everything accounted for in that package. You will also receive a shipment, and I know a number of them are in the process of being delivered or maybe have been delivered already from Score Promotions. Those are going to contain your star and team captain rewards. So star, the shooting star, rising star, and superstar, as well as your team captain rewards. So anything like that. And then you will also receive a third package that will likely come early next week from Rycarts, which is the t-shirt vendor this year. So they will send you the remaining t-shirts for those people that did not quite reach the t-shirt threshold before the May 12th deadline. And we will potentially need to give away a couple extra shirts this year if their name was on the list and they were sent a t-shirt, but we're kind of in limbo right now because Canada Post might strike. So there might be some shirts that get caught up in that. And if that is the case, and somebody didn't get their t-shirt, but it says they were sent the t-shirt, we're just kind of, the messaging is going to be that we're just going to give them another t-shirt and just mark down that they were given a t-shirt on walk day as well. And then they can either keep the t-shirt that they were mailed whenever it gets to them, or they can just send it back to us, either or. So please review that your check-in packages have arrived and what's the contents before walk day, and let your staff partner know if you're missing any items or if you have any questions. So we're going to talk a bit about some of the forms that have come in there. So the check-in lead forms, the event day tally summary is one form that you might, if you've been around for Gutsy Walk before, it might be familiar to you. This form is the kind of like, I guess I want to say like the holy grail of check-in forms. This is a really important form. So this is something that we require to be filled out and sent to the Gutsy Walk team a couple hours post-event, so that we can accurately get kind of an idea of how the day went, as well as this is where you're tracking any and all offline monies. Some of the other forms that you have is that the follow-up form. Again, reminder that that is not for any missing inventory or missing rewards. That is for anything kind of outside of that. So if they have questions about Crohn's Colitis Canada, about the Gutsy Walk, if you need them to talk to somebody about something, please feel free to fill out that form. There is the remaining rewards inventory form, and I know somebody asked about that. So that form will also be included, and that form is really, really important. Even if you have 0 remaining inventory, you have no t-shirts, you have no incentives or rewards, nothing like that, we still really need you to just, even if you just write a big 0 on the page, we still need a copy of that, because that accurately helps us. You know, we have to send sometimes rewards post-event to people who qualified after the June 1st event, because we have fundraising open until June 30th. So it ensures that we're also accurately predicting quantities and stuff for next year. So please, please, please make sure that that form gets filled out and it gets included in your Purolator bag. One of the other things in here that you'll see is a copy of kind of the deposit slip. This is pretty straightforward, pretty standards. In the deposit slip, there's 3 copies. Some of them might look a little different than what you're used to. I know we have chapter deposit books that have like pink, yellow, and white. A lot of the Gutsy Walk ones there's like a blue and then a lighter blue and a gray. So just note that, make sure that the deposit slips match the numbers in terms of, and they're not mixing and matching, because sometimes in those bags, they do get a little jumbled together. But we have the deposit slips as well, and you will have a certain number of deposit slips for your walk, in case there are, in case you have to do multiple deposits. But that is there for you as well. Any questions before I go into like walk day stuff so far, about kind of like preparation and what to expect in terms of packages? Okay, I'm going to take the silence as we're golden still. So I'll continue on. So for walk day, now we're kind of breaking it down again. So again, you're in charge of setting up the check-in area, arranging check-in volunteers into stations in terms of like whether they're sitting at a table doing the check-in with donations. There may be a runner or star reward pickup, anything like that. Set it up however it works for your walk location. Set up highlighters, pens, pledge forms, participant lists, everything in those spots so that they are prepared and ready to go. It's great to also set up a rewards and t-shirt table. Oftentimes, I know for myself, we usually set it up in the back of the tent so that there's a couple of volunteers back there and they could just call out what they need for those sitting at the table, but do what works for you. Just make sure that it is kind of like behind or volunteers in front of it, so that people aren't just like walking up and helping themselves because they think it's like free swag. Because we want to make sure that the people who are eligible and entitled to those rewards get those rewards. Also, it's important to have a secure box or bin or something for the donations as you collect them from the volunteers, and ensure that this is supervised at all times. You're going to continue to support check-in volunteers if any questions arise. You're going to make sure that the area is secured and You'll store and review the pledge forms and donations, and also use your best judgment to ensure a smooth and positive experience for your volunteers and participants. And it doesn't say it here, but also have fun. Registration is one of those, and check-in is one of those things that's like more like formal and a little bit stuffy, but we want you to still have fun with it and enjoy the day. Okay. I'm gonna guess there's no questions, so we can move on. We kind of put a bunch of question slides in here to pause, to remind us to ask if you have questions. So that's why they're kind of in here. So don't be annoyed by them. We would rather, you know, ask too much and you not have questions than not give you the opportunity to ask. Okay, so check-in lead tasks. So this is once check-in is closed, your walkers they're gone on their walk, or the warm-up has started, or whatever it is, check-in has officially closed. So the first kind of step is to make sure that you're collecting all the boxes and reports and the information in the boxes. So the pledge forms and the donations. So you're gonna, like I said, you're gonna make sure that the donations are kept secure and supervised at all time. You're gonna collect all the boxes and forms once the check-in has ended. You'll want to find a secure area with a witness to do a count to make sure that all the money that says it's there is there. Have your other check-in volunteers help clean up the area, bundle things together, you know, put all the pens in a bin or whatever, and make sure that those things are properly stored. And if you have any, so far, I mean, it still could happen, but if you have any accident or incident reports that needed to be filled out, whether there was a medical emergency or somebody tripped and fell or needed first aid, anything like that, just make sure that those also get included at the end of the day. So post-walk, we're going to go a little bit more into details, but essentially the high level steps are performing your counts with a witness and fill out that event day tally summary page. That's a mouthful, but that's what it's called. So we're going to keep going with it. You're going to want to total how much revenue has been raised. So you're going to want to share the total of the amount that was raised on site that day. You can add in any barbecue funds or raffle funds or whatever it might be, your offline money, then pull up your location page on gutsywalk.ca to total those together, give it to the MC, and they'll announce the kind of like, we've raised X amount and counting. As we know, Gutsy Walk can continue to collect donations until June 30th. So we always say and counting because it makes people maybe want to do a little bit more fundraising, which is always a great thing. So you're going to take a picture of that event day tally summary form and submit it to the Gutsy Walk team. So to Shai and myself at the email on the screen. So that's gutsywalk@crohnsandcolitis.ca, and your local staff partner within 3 to 4 hours post-event. Ideally, this is done as soon as you can. If you just snap a picture there and then go get your lunch or whatever it might be, just make sure that that picture is sent to us, and you also include your staff partner because it's very important, because the staff partner has to do the Form A's. If anybody remembers that, they are responsible for filling out the Form A's. No volunteers are responsible for filling out Form A's. So it's important that they are included so that they can accurately fill out a Form A. You're also going to fill out that remaining rewards inventory form. Like I said before, if you have no inventory left, the form is still required and really important. So please, please, please fill that out. You're also going to prep and do the RBC deposit and get that ready. And then on your way home from the walk, you should be going with a witness to drop it off at the nearest RBC, so that, or whichever RBC it was that you got the key from, because obviously the key is not universal and doesn't work for all RBCs. So make sure that you drop that off. You should not be taking the money home with you unless there's some kind of like extenuating circumstance, but the money should be dropped off that day on the way home. More questions or comments?
Do we have to send a picture of the deposit slip as well?
A picture is not necessary, but the copy of the deposit slip is necessary in the
Okay,
peer
so we have to do the peer later and all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly. I'm going to go through that next.
Okay, thank you. I'm getting ahead of myself.
No problem. I mean, it's good that you remember that that's an important step. So, yeah. Okay. So now we're going to go through kind of the count. So, we have a couple different documents that you will refer to when you're going through the count. So you have that pledge form. You ensure, that the donations are filled out on the donor side. You ensure that we have first, last name, and, email on the participant side as well. If they're registered online, if they're not registered online, we need all that information to be filled out. And then you're going to verify the amounts that were given by the participant, that they match the total on the pledge form written at the bottom. And if a participant has multiple pledge forms, please verify the total on the first page is correct. If it isn't filled out, just write it at the bottom to make sure that it's there. You're going to add the participant's donation totals from the pledge form to the participant donation tally on the event day tally summary. Please do not add donor information. So in this case, we are saying that Snoop Dogg had $170 in offline money. So that is who the participant. We are not writing down Greg's name or James's name or Snoopy Beagle's name on that form. It's only the participant that we are writing down. Then you're going to also securely put aside the cash and checks. So once you're done doing all that, you've went through all the pledge forms, you've counted all the money, you have everything written down, you're going to fill out the Gutsy Walk raised revenue side. There's a couple kind of like information questions at the top, like what walk location you're filling it out for, an approximate guess of the weather, because we do take that into consideration when we look at participants. You know, if it's a really rainy day, maybe your participant numbers are a lot less. So give a best estimate of the weather and a best estimate of the approximate attendance of participants or just people generally that have attended your event. If you're doing something like the tickets for the barbecue, that's a great way to get an estimate. But also best guess is totally fine. Then below that, we have the section that is for walk funds collected on walk day. This is only specific to what was collected at the event. And this is where you're going to input the totals for amounts of cash check and any other money that was received. And this is only, again, only the money that you have received at the event. If somebody has an outstanding donation, or if somebody went and filled out the donation online, that does not count to the money that is being tracked on this form. This is only for cash and or checks that have been handed in. So you want to make sure that you put the total handed in with the pledge forms in terms of cash. If there were any that did not have pledge forms, you want to write a number in there. If you have a Moneris machine, like I said, that is not receiving donations, but is receiving raffle money or anything like that, that's where you would put that total in. The total from all checks that were handed in and any other money received in terms of cash. So that is like barbecues, raffles, etc. Then you're going to total all of those up. And like I said, you're going to go to your Gutsy Walk page on the website and add the total of the offline money raised with the total that the website currently rates and give them the best number. You do not need to write down the total that the online website says anywhere on your forms. So don't feel the need to write that down. It is not, I'll be honest, it's not relevant because it's probably going to change by the time we see them. So you don't worry about writing that down anywhere. Then there's a section at the bottom that is for cash received. So it should match what is being entered to your deposit slip. So if you received any loonies, you're going to write however many loonies. And then if you receive 5 loonies, you write 5 and then put the $5 and carry that around. You'll total your cash, you'll total your checks. The number of checks received is the quantity of checks. So if you received 4 different checks, you write down 4 so that we know that you received those checks. And then this, like I said, this is the information that will match your deposit slip as well. So a little bit more. So the deposit slip, oh yeah, okay, I was wrong. We do ask for the deposit slip, a picture of the deposit slip. So if you could take a picture of the deposit slip, that's great. And that is in case there's any issues. I'll be honest, last year we had one situation where a deposit slip just didn't get to us. And we struggled to find that money because we didn't know what the deposit was and there was no totals matching. So take a picture of the deposit slip and the Gutsy Walk raise revenue and event day tally and send those to the Gutsy Walk team and your local staff partner. Feel free to scan a copy if you prefer, or just a photo from your phone as well. As long as it is clear, please make sure that it is as clear as possible. And if any issues arise with sending the form, please inform your local staff partner or Gutsy Walk team as soon as possible. Let's say something happens at the end of your event or something gets lost or you don't have all the information or, a lot of us are living with IBD and maybe you're just exhausted and you need a couple hours and need to take a nap. That's totally fine. Just let us know because we don't want to be chasing you for something. And meanwhile, you're like laying down because you need the break. So just, keep us in the loop as much as possible. So then we're almost there. We're wrapping up the last couple steps of the check-in lead process. So I mentioned before, we need you to include the remaining rewards inventory that you have on site. Please note that these do not get shipped back to us at the office. You will either hold on to these, or they'll go in your storage locker or go to your staff partner. Please work out the details with them in terms of that. But we do not have them sent back to the office, just because it's a lot easier, and then you have additional inventory just in case there was anybody maybe that calls you the next day and couldn't make it, and you can get them the incentive or the reward or whatever they might need. So like I said, very important. Even if you have nothing, please fill it out. So we're in the home stretch now, the bank. So you're taking that event day tally summary with the cash breakdown, and you're filling out the deposit slip and ensuring that that accurately is what is reflected on the deposit slip. On the deposit slip, you're responsible for depositing all of this event day money. You're going to complete the slip based on that. Ensure that you have the proper date written in. And if you have any questions about the deposit slip, please feel free to reach out to us. It's important that you also do initial when you are depositing, so that we also know that if a deposit slip comes back and we're not quite sure who it is, we can look and see, like, if Shy signed it and it says SG, we can be like, okay, who is on our list that is SG, and we can make sure to follow up. The bank bags are also used to deposit the cash and checks. So once you have filled out the deposit slip completely, you will take the top 2 copies of the deposit slip and put those in the bag. That's not the gray copy. The gray copy is the back copy. So you'll take the top 2 copies. Those will go in the deposit bag with all of the cash and any checks that you were received on event day. Like I said, the 3rd copy stays with you. That is going to be sent to the Gutsy Walk team. You're going to then, you'll see a picture on the bag. So it looks red, but it is a white slip. The red is the sticky part. So you're going to remove the white slip, the white carbon slip, and seal the bag. It's also recommended that before you kind of do that, to get rid of any air, so just like before you unstick the white strip, fold it over a couple times and make sure that there's not like a ton of air in there, because that's going to be annoying when trying to put it into the deposit box. This white strip, I know that it might be like second nature. You might be like, oh, this is just garbage. It is very important that it is not garbage. We do need a copy of that slip because it also corresponds with the deposit number on the bag. So we do need that. So there's a couple of spots that you can fill out, like the amount that was deposited with the deposit slip. You can fill out your name and make sure that that slip makes its way into the Purolator bag that is sent back to the Gutsy Walk team. So do not throw it out. As much as your brain might tell you to throw it out, don't throw it out.
On the bank deposit slips, the ones I received, they're all just a bunch of separate slips. They're not, I guess, held together with.
I think UPS had a little bit of fun with the packages. So you want to look at the one that is like the darkest blue, should be on top.
Okay.
And then there's a faded one that's a little bit lighter blue and looks more like carbon, and then gray. And then just make sure that you're at the bottom of the slip where it says 0, I don't know if you can see this, like 0071. It should have your numbers, and I have your numbers if you want them. So you want to just make sure you're matching your deposit slips. They all have the same number, but it's sort of like this blue, if you can kind of see it, is your top copy. And then it's sort of more of a gray carboned out blue.
Okay, yeah, I'll double check them. Like looking at it quickly, I had like 4 blues and 2 grays. So
yeah,
kind of like, this doesn't seem right at all.
No, yeah, it
I
threw
guess I'll
us
look
off
closer
this
at
year.
the shade of a shade of blue.
Yeah, the main thing would be you just want to make sure the first 3 numbers match. Sorry, 4 numbers match, because that's how I tracked everything. So I know when they land in the bank, I can match the deposit slips with walk sites and bags. But feel free to reach out and
okay, I'll verify that I have like complete sets.
Yeah,
I'll just reach out if
I saw the
there's any issue.
packages kind of arrived a little wonky, so they got there quickly, but yes, I think they shook a bit on their delivery.
Yeah, sounds good.
Any other questions while we're paused for questions? All right. Okay. So the last kind of step, once you've done your bank deposit, everything's ready to go, you've sealed that up, dropped it off. When you get home or on your way home or whatever it might be, you're gonna prep the Purolator bag to send to Shy and myself. So if you have any blank copies of forms, like blank pledge forms, blank accident and incident forms, anything like that, please don't include those. We don't need those back. They can be recycled, used as scrap paper, thrown out, whatever you want to do with them, or reused for next year. But that being said, we might not use the exact same form next year, so totally up to you, but we don't need the blank forms back. In the Purolator bag, you will receive one, like those big kind of bags, as well as Purolator way bill, at least one Purolator way bill. I will note about the Purolator way bills, you will probably notice that it is not being sent to the office this year. And we're trying to pilot a different strategy in terms of that. And they are being sent to both my personal address and Shy's personal address. So what we do ask is that any unused way bills get thrown in the bag, just because in case, I know people have had extras left over in the past, but let's say Shy and I aren't here for next year, and then you end up shipping us a package because you had a leftover waybill to Shy, but she's not with the Gutsy Walk team anymore. That's just going to create confusion. So any remaining waybills slip in there, and you'll use the one that you are using to send this package. So in that bag, you should include all copies of the participant list that were used at check-in. Those are confidential documents, so it's very important that it gets back to us so that we can accurately track and record and then shred them because they have confidential information. Any filled out pledge forms, include those as well. The rewards not received forms, in terms of if we need to send those out, and please ensure that they have full information. And if you're missing any information, feel free to like write it in if you know, or like write a little note being like, I'm sorry, I don't have this information, but I know this. We appreciate little notes as well. Any follow-up forms, as well as this year, we have introduced a volunteer check-in list. And that is to accurately have emergency contacts for volunteers on event day. So that is included. We haven't gone through it in this training because it's not at the responsibility of the check-in lead. It's at the responsibility of the volunteer lead and or the staff partner. So any of those forms, if you can collect them from your volunteer lead and send them back to us, because again, it's going to have confidential information. So we need to make sure that those get back to us and we can accurately track and then get rid of. Any accident or incident forms that were filled out. And if it is something in a situation of like a situation of crisis, or like an ambulance needs to be called or anything like that, please scan or take photos of the accident and incident reports and send it to the Gutsy Walk team as well, as soon as you can, because that's something that we need to be aware of, right? We don't want to hear through the grapevine that an ambulance showed up at the KW Walk, because we want to be able to know that, so that when we hear it through the grapevine, we're like, oh yeah, we got it. Don't worry about it.
That has not happened, by the way, at least
No.
not in my time.
No, exactly. But we want to make sure that everybody's butts are covered, right? Any of the, or not any, the event day tally summary form that you have taken a picture of and sent to the Gutsy Walk team and your staff partner, that copy is also in there. The copy of the bank deposit slip, so that gray copy on the back of whatever you have deposited, the white strip, again, from the RBC bag, and any unused RBC deposit slips or those Purolator bags and Purolator way bills. So we, like I said, yeah, just slip them in there if you haven't used them. Those are the only blank things that we will take back, but otherwise the other blank forms you don't have to worry about including. Shy, can you go to the next slide? So completing the Purolator bag, you're going to fill the return address on the Purolator slip with your personal contact information. Just make sure, I know sometimes the Purolator labels are a little wonky in terms of like, it asks for the information like below where you enter it, or it might be the opposite. I know I have messed up a Purolator waybill so many times in the past. So just keep an eye on it. I mean, most of you will have a second copy in case you do mess it up. And if you do mess it up, feel free to just void the copy that you messed up and restart on the other one. You're going, like I mentioned, the to address has already been completed for you with the shipping locations to myself and Shy. So don't worry about where it's being sent. We've already allocated who's getting what, and we will handle that and follow up as well if we need to. It's important that these Purolator bags should be mailed within 48 hours post-event. So that is ideally latest by like, let's say like Wednesday morning following Gutsy Walk. So ideally you're getting it out the door on Monday or Tuesday, and latest by Wednesday. If something arises and you're not able to get it to us out the door by then, please definitely contact the Gutsy Walk team so that we're aware and we're not wondering, hey, where's this package from this location? We haven't received anything yet, and then we don't have to chase you to bug you either. In the Purolator bag, you're going to put everything in there. You can either drop the bag off at your local depot with the waybill, or you can call to schedule a pickup, whatever you're more comfortable with. Please visit the Purolator website to figure out the closest depot to you in terms of that, or to schedule a pickup. And they're usually like, I've done it pick up at my place before and I haven't dropped it off, and I usually just call and I give them the information and then they process it for me and somebody comes and picks it up, which is great. Like I said, let the Gutsy Walk team know if you're not able to send it within the first 2 days post event. And once the bag has been shipped, please forward shipping information and tracking information to Gutsy Walk. So when you send the Purolator bag, typically you will get a tracking number. Feel free to just flip that email to the Gutsy Walk team and forward it to us, and just write in at the top, say this is Vancouver's Purolator package, just so that we know and we can watch in case there's any issues or in case it gets lost along the way. I believe that is basically our last slide. So that is kind of the all-encompassing. I know I have spewed a lot of words at you in the last little bit that I've been speaking, and Shai also shared a lot with you. So questions, comments, concerns, anything like that. I see Anne-Marie with her hand up, so please go ahead.
Of course I have my hand up.
That is okay. We want your questions, please.
Yeah,
please
it's more of a comment. You know, I've been doing this for quite a while. And one thing I say on the event day tally, and I know in Calgary, we always announce, you know, this is how much we've raised. And it doesn't include the online, which I know, you know, I understand your thoughts for it, but we always like to get everybody and go, oh, we raised at this. I know it changes, but it's just a thought that maybe it could be in there, just online total, because as I said, we like to announce it and everybody gets all excited.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. I think it's not needed for us in terms of tracking purposes, but like we kind of mentioned, like we do recommend that you pull up the Gutsy Walk website on your phone and then add the offline money that you've received on event day to announce that total. So so that you can get people excited, or maybe tell people to try to keep pushing, right? If you're not quite at your goal yet, or celebrate that you're over your goal. So that's definitely kind of a on the event to make sure that happens, whether it's yourself as a check-in lead or the walk chair or the staff partner. And if it makes you more comfortable, if you want to write the online total at the bottom of the form, please feel free to. We're just not requiring it as part of the form to fill out this year.
Okay, it's just a comment.
Yeah, totally. I appreciate it.
And on the event day tally side, on the opposite side of it, Anne-Marie, it has the instructions, and it does say that, like, make sure you include it. We just, last year, it tended to skew, I think, some of the numbers. So when we were trying to cross-check and see amounts, we realized some of the online total was counted. So then we were, you know, going back and forth, looking at deposit slips and trying to review it all. So it was just more to mitigate any calculation errors. More so for us,
and, you know,
on the back end.
You know, when you've got people like me who's an idiot, I always wanted idiot proof with fill out with this, fill out with that. So
yeah, no, it's hopefully we'll look forward to your feedback this year and how you think the changes that we've made, how it goes, and if it worked well, didn't work well. So we worked with some longstanding volunteers as well when we were adapting these changes, and worked with other charities too to hear how they did their check-in to try and revamp ours. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm in Toronto this year and I haven't seen a walk that size, so it'll be interesting to see how it goes there for us. But the only suggestion I would have for this year to consider, if you have volunteer capacity, would be to have a t-shirt line, knowing that we cut off the mailing a lot sooner this year. So we will have an influx in comparison to other years of, you know, people potentially coming to just pick up their t-shirts. So if we could have that would be ideal, I think, and it'd help you event day as well.
we used to do it before they mailed it, so that's nothing compared.
Yeah, Dara mentioned that. You see it multiple
Yeah.
boxes of t-shirts delivered.
It'll be a breeze
so-
compared to that time.
Yeah,
We don't have
yeah.
to worry about that. But there
Yeah.
still will be probably more because we did end up having to change the t-shirt deadline to a week prior because of Canada Post. But even then, there's still some t-shirts that I have a feeling will be stuck in limbo in Canada Post that people won't get in time for the walk. If
I
they do
must say, I'm
right.
happy that we now can say we don't want a t-shirt. I think that's after 30 years doing this, I don't need another t-shirt. Plus you keep doing red and it doesn't match my hair.
We're trying
red-
to
see the
change
red.
some different colors. The red is not
can't wear red, okay?
a common love along a lot of people.
Yes.
I don't like red either, but we'll see. Maybe we can keep convincing them. I think if enough of us keep saying something, they'll do it eventually.
Or I have to change my hair color.
Just for walk day, Emery. You get a wig
Yeah, I think
color. You
that's a
can
good
have like a
plan.
lot of fun. Yeah, just for walk day. Yeah.
Any other
You
questions?
mentioned, you know, I always say that I've done this and you get up way too freaking early. You get through it, you're happy you're done. And I always say, by the end of it, I've figured out what I'm doing. And then I forget it by next year. And they keep inviting me back.
That's okay. You're doing great. And we
Oh,
appreciate
thank you.
coming back every year.
When will the recording be available if you're going to share that with the rest of the check-in team?
So our plan is to, once this is done,
Mhm.
we're going to flip the recording over to our colleagues in the marketing team. So they're obviously not working this evening, but they will probably get it uploaded to YouTube. We're hoping tomorrow. So we're hoping that we should be able to get that link to the development coordinators and to you folks by the end of the week.
Okay, sounds good.
That's all for us, guys.
Yeah,
If you guys
we're
have
done.
questions
If you
or,
want to
yeah,
drop off, please do. Or if you have some more questions you want to stick around for, please do. But otherwise, thank you. We really, really, really appreciate you being here and being willing to step up and help us with this. We know it's a bit more of a detailed process, but thank you. And we hope that you all have an amazing Gutsy walk and sending you good weather vibes wherever you might be.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good
Thanks, guys.
evening.
Have a good evening, guys.